So, JP.
So, Ron.
The moment we've been waiting for.
Yep. It finally happened.
Lemmy died.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
we've been...
Way to open the show with a downer, Ron.
We've been
Holy
waiting.
shit.
We've been waiting for this moment to happen.
Yeah. You know, fun story about Lemmy.
Yes.
Lemmy used to be a roadie for Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Okay.
And he is actually the guy who... who's the guy who plays the organ in Emerson, Lake and Palmer? Is it Keith Emerson, or is it...
sure, let's say that.
Sure.
Yeah.
He gave him the Hitler Youth Dagger that he used to play the organ with in his crazy live shows.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and for that we remember Lemmy.
That's right.
Yes. Moving on.
Yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what everyone's been waiting for us to talk about, right?
Right. Yeah. Lemmy.
Yeah.
Just a tribute to Lemmy.
Yeah.
No, we're finally talking about the movie.
Yeah, the big movie, The Force Awakens. We've been away for a little bit. Thank you very much to Steve the Sheev and his brother. Is that right? Yes.
They picked up where we dropped the ball towards the end of the year.
Well, me and Ron went and saw the film together.
That's right.
And we walked out with full intention to record. I had my laptop. We had all our stuff. We went to a bar. And we basically were kind of just so shell-shocked that we were like, we need to actually just process. We need to process. And we wanted to release a show that we could talk about the movie and not spoiler. Because everyone knows that we have a long-standing policy.
To just go spoiler-rific.
Everything.
Yes.
Spoil everything.
Yeah, we're spoiling everything.
But that kind of really goes against some kind of just rule of nature with The Force Awakens. Everyone's been, I found, very respectful about spoilers in this film.
Yes, yeah,
you know?
Definitely. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know how we can talk about it and not spoil it at this point.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to give everybody a couple weeks. If you haven't seen it by now, why are you listening to a Star Wars podcast?
Yeah, turn us off, go see it.
It's goofy.
It really needs your support.
Yeah. It's really got to make that 2 billion mark before the end of the month.
Folks, if we want a sequel.
If we want a sequel. Wow. Yeah. That is weird, right? Like, that there used to be, like, that was the thing at some point. Like, boy, I hope Star Wars gets a sequel.
Yeah. Now, Episode 8 has a Kickstarter page.
Yeah. Indiegogo is...
No, but yeah, I've seen it 3 times now.
I've seen it twice.
Okay. And I'll say this.
Yeah.
I don't want to just give a review of it, but I will give you my reaction to it.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I think I was just numb.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's from those recliners we saw it in.
We had the sweet recliners that we saw it in.
Yeah.
And, but I was just kind of numb to it. I didn't really...
Yeah.
I couldn't really grasp how to take it in, and I said to JP, I'm like, we need to go to a bar right now and do shots. That's really the only way I could process this.
Yeah.
A second time around, I saw it with my my uncle, who we've talked about on the show before. He's a lifelong Star Wars fan as well, a big collector, and same thing. Walked out and we're like, we need to drink.
We need to go.
We need to go have a drink.
We have to go get some black tar heroin. We have to keep chasing the dragon.
Yes. So I saw it a third time with my parents, who, fitting, they took me to see the original when I was a little kid. So I was like, I'll take my parents to see this.
And afterwards,
they literally had not any idea what was in this movie.
Sure, yeah.
They were not spoiled by anything. I kept asking them. I was like, do you guys, have you heard anything?
Mm-hmm.
No. Did not have a clue, right?
And the third time you saw it, to keep that high, you had to go light a bum on fire.
Yeah. My mom and I, we just did a bottle of tequila each.
Yeah.
No, but I was, I personally, it was hard for me to go see it a third time.
Really? Oh,
because of what happens. Because what happens.
Yeah.
It truly affected me in a very profound way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that scene certainly is sold well.
Yeah. As a lifelong fan, as a big fan of that particular character, Han Solo. We're speaking of.
Yep.
He's one of my favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard scene to take.
Well, and it's weird too because I was thinking about this later. It's a character that's bigger than Star Wars in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's iconic beyond Star Wars. Like, Han Solo is, I don't know, it's a part of American pop culture in a very real way.
Sure, he's kind of the epitome of,
scoundrel.
Yeah,
rogue.
Space pirates, it's funny, I was watching The Martian over our break as well.
Oh, right.
And they mention, that Matt Damon is stranded on Mars, and for whatever reason, maritime law takes place on Mars because that's the way it breaks down is maritime law. That's what Mars is. Basically.
Okay.
And for him to go out on Mars, he basically becomes a pirate. And he's like, I'm a space pirate. And he totally digs that. And it's just like, well, that's like Han Solo, kind of. Not so much a pirate, but that's sort of like where the whole idea comes from.
Well, I mean, he's called a pirate by Lando.
That's right, old pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it affected me. And it affected me in a way I was like, I want to see it again. Like I literally saw it 2 days in a row. And I was just like, I need to take a break.
So I thought it's a great scene, sold well. I didn't feel like there was a missed note in the whole movie.
No, right.
But that was, to me, that scene was kind of like the pound of flesh they had to pay.
Yes.
To make the movie.
Yes. Yes.
Someone had to go. We talked about it before. I think in a previous podcast we talked about tried to have a little death pool of who was going to get killed in this.
Right.
Looked like Chewie was going to go.
Right. I think someone told me, having listened to our old shows, that we did predict that Han Solo would be the one to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford, a lot of external things there.
Right. It wasn't too hard to predict.
What was shocking was how well he went back into Han Solo.
Yes.
He sold it so well that I didn't think they were going to kill him at a certain point. There was a point there where it was like, oh, no, he's great. He's got more movies in him.
Yeah, right.
Right. I want to keep watching him. It's so watchable.
Sure.
And if there was anything that was negative about the film, it kind of burned my ass to watch. It's like, oh, so you could just turn this on.
What do you mean?
Like he could just be that dynamic in a movie when he wants to.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because we haven't seen that Harrison Ford.
We have not seen that Harrison Ford in quite a long time. Yeah. I don't know what they did to get Mr. Ford to do the performance, but it
He's
worked.
all CGI, actually. Believe it or
not. So let's talk about that. The effects of this movie. Very practical, and it's.
In a different way than I expected. Like, people talk about The Dark Knight, they talk about Mad Max, they talk about how practical they are, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty practical, you know what I mean? But, like, this movie had a lot of stuff where it was like, oh, this isn't on some kind of, like, when they go watch the prequels, like some kind of CGI background that's infinite.
Right.
Like, especially that opening scene of the battle.
Yeah.
It's like, this is like a set, and there's, like, a group of people, like, you know what I mean? Or, like,
right.
An area is being shot.
Yeah.
It felt smaller and bigger somehow. Do you know what I mean?
I totally get that. I think, I got the idea that it was a small movie.
Well, yeah, and, like, I don't want to say, like, it was like, oh, it looked cheap. What I mean by it is, like, somehow looking at it as, like, all real things made it feel more like Oscar Isaacs goes over a little dune and he's like hiding over here. You know what I mean? And it's like characters. It felt like characters could go anywhere there. Whereas like watching some of the prequels again, like I have, it's like, oh, it's a clear path they can walk on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I got like from this movie, more so than the original trilogy, that like aside from Jakku, I felt like is the entire planet is a desert wasteland, right? Yeah. The other planets they go to, where Maz's castle is, and then when they go to the Resistance base.
Yeah.
The planets those are on, and it's going to take me a while to learn what those planets are because they're not as memorable in title as, you know, a Tatooine or an Alderaan or a Hoth.
Well, not
right?
yet.
Not yet, right?
Yeah.
But for me, at least, I felt like I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, the planet that Maz's castle is on, right?
Yeah.
That the entire planet is just forest. You know,
Right.
it's not Endor, right?
Yeah.
Like there's rivers, there's forests, there seems to be open areas.
No, I think is that the planet where they approach and you can see it's almost like a series of like islands and water.
No, I think that's the last planet at the end.
Right, okay.
Right. But it just never felt like, oh, the whole planet is one thing, other than Jakku. Jakku
Sure.
felt like the whole planet is one thing. But
Yeah.
it didn't feel like the other planets that they visit, oh, the whole planet is just this, or the whole planet is just snow, or, you know, like, I mean, Starkiller Base itself, like, who knows what that planet was before it became Starkiller Base?
Right.
Like, what kind of madness has gone on in this universe where they're just, like, tearing apart planets and making weapons out of them?
And I had some questions about Jakku, too. Was Jakku always a desert planet, or was that, like, the result of 25 years of war?
Well,
You know what I mean? Because, like, you see just tons of wreckage everywhere. And it's
Right.
like, was this place just decimated by war?
I think they make reference to that in that Aftermath book.
Oh, okay.
That, like, prior to the war coming to Jakku, it was just like the most. It's not the outermost planet, but it's the planet that hasn't been touched by war.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, there's like, you know, a
War. Yeah.
A battle happens above Jakku, and Star Destroyers go down, and, you know, wreckage happens, and it just turns this planet that's just very desolate into just the junkyard.
And see, right there, Ron, is another one of my favorite things about the film, is that it's peppered. Like, people keep talking about how it's so similar to the original, but one of the coolest things that's similar about it is every nook and cranny of this is packed with other stories.
Yes.
Like, every character, every, like, situation, it has me wondering, like, who is that guy? What is he doing? What's his story? What's this? You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Because going into this movie, you know, we've had decades of stories being told to us through the EU.
Yeah.
We've had the story of Han and Leia and Luke expanded upon.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah, ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were told that's all wiped away. And, you know, this movie, walking into it, I was just like, okay, I'm going to get some answers.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some real answers because everything counts now as canon, right?
Yep.
And I walk into the movie, and I'm like, okay, paid my ticket, give me some answers. And I got some answers.
I got more questions. Yeah.
More
The
questions
JJ
than
mystery
answers.
box.
Yeah.
Now, one of the cool things, though, when you brought up the EU, because as we have longtime listeners know, we're big fans of the EU. There was a few EU nods.
Yeah.
Like, I liked how it was. So they changed the EU. It's not necessarily wiped away so much as it's quote unquote legends.
Yes.
Like, parts of it have already been drugged back into canon by
Yes.
the Clone Wars and by
Rebels.
the Tarkin novel.
Yes.
I know that pulled in some of the Plagueis stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see, like, oh, okay, so Han Solo and Leia did have a son who went evil,
Right.
but it wasn't Jason. It was Ben.
Ben. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and there is a Ben Skywalker in the EU, but this is Ben Solo.
no, it's Anakin Skywalker. Oh, it is Ben?
There's Luke's grandson is Ben Skywalker.
See, that's beyond my time.
Yeah, I
God
had to
damn
look
it.
that up because I'm like, I knew there was a Ben in the EU somewhere.
I skip right to Cade.
Ugh.
Ugh.
I put those on my iPad.
The Cade episode is coming.
I want to read those books. I
Yeah.
just need to get past the cover art because the cover art of those trade paperbacks are just awful.
Yeah.
It's just bad Photoshop. It's just awful. Anyway, yeah. So
did you like the film?
I love the film.
I love the film. I love the film as well.
Yeah, I love the
Let's
film.
just get that out of the way 15 minutes in.
Yeah, I love the film. It gave me everything I really was looking for.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's not really a missed note in this movie at all.
No.
In fact, I believe watching it on repeat viewings has made me like it even more.
Yeah.
The third time around, there was nothing that was like, not that there was things that were bothering me the first or second time around, but the third time around, I was just like, this. I hate to use this word, but it felt perfect to me.
Yeah,
it felt perfect to me.
Here's the thing: first time I saw it, it was fun. It was exciting. Right away, it hits you with the Star Wars. Just like all the other ones. Poof, comes in.
Yeah.
Music plays. Scroll happens. Scroll right from the get go. Luke Skywalker is missing.
Sure.
And then, boom, the movie just keeps going the whole time. And it's just a fun ride. And it's awesome. And there's ups and there's downs. And all the characters are great. And the new characters are great. And the old characters are great. And then, afterwards, I was like, when I went to see it a second time, I started thinking about JJ's Star Trek.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I had the same experience. I was like, it was fun. I had so much fun. Like, I remember in the theater, looking at somebody else in the theater, and, like, us doing, like, a geek nod. Like, no, that was cool.
Right.
Right. But then upon repeat viewings of that, slowly it started to fall apart. It's like, wow, that's kind of weird. That was very un-Spock-like, what he did there. And that was very... So I got worried that I was caught up into the JJ fun. Mystery box of JJ.
Sure.
Because that is the number one word used to describe JJ Abrams' work. Is like fun.
Mm-hmm.
In that kind of like backhanded derisive way where it's like, it's not great, but it's fun. It's fun. Right. You'll have a fun time.
Right.
And I kept hearing people kind of describe TFA like that.
Sure.
So when I saw it a second time, I was like, very like critical eye.
Sure.
Awesome. Still great. Great. Like we did a podcast for over a year, like building up for that damn movie.
Right.
And like I was totally ready for it to not be good.
Right.
Because it was totally possible.
Sure. It could have... there was
and like
a big chance that this could not have worked.
From what I understand, there was tinkering right up to the end. Like Snoke was tinkered with to the very like last minute, I heard.
Sure.
That's why I've heard a few... Well, we're going to address a complaints episode later.
Yeah.
But
we'll get into the negatives.
I've heard some people kind of like talking about the CGI on him and Maz Katana.
Right.
Which I thought hers was fine, but you could see his was a little weird. He's supposed to be a hologram.
Yeah.
And it looked a little dodgy in places, maybe. I thought it was fine.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was...
But they say that was because his was like the last thing they were doing.
Okay.
Like they were making tweaks up to the end. I don't know if that's true or not. Like, I've seen that Art of book, and I saw him printed in it, so they must have had him pretty figured out.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
Hard to tell. But that was what was cool, is that, like, somehow they remained with this super huge gamble. Like, this movie, like, what was it, has to make $2 billion before it gets into the black?
I heard 1.5, but,
okay.
I mean, at this point, who knows how much money has really been spent on this movie to make it? I don't know if they've really actually said that figure out loud anywhere, but, well, as of the recording of this episode, it's on par to basically...
destroy everything.
Yeah, it's going to beat Avatar this weekend. We're recording this on a Saturday. So by Monday, when this episode comes out, it may have already beat Avatar, which is the number one, and it hasn't even opened in China yet.
Right, and we got to get our our Avatar podcast off the ground, because
that's right.
He's already come back and said, James Cameron, that he's got the 3 movies are coming out back to back starting 2017, and he's going to prove that Avatar was not a fluke.
Okay. Well. All right. So, going back to my emotional. Just this movie just is an emotional marathon for me. Walking out of it all 3 times, I've walked out of it shaky.
Sure.
Like, just what just hit me, right?
Gotcha.
And now I can always, as someone who's seen the originals in the theaters, I can kind of say, oh, well, I got to see Han Solo on screen again. I got to see Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. I got to see Leia. I got to see everything, right? But it's not that. It's not. Because the new cast really brings it.
Oh, my God.
The new cast, like, you go for, what, a half hour into this movie before you get any old characters in it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah. And, like...
And you don't I didn't miss anybody. It's like, oh, I can't wait for Han to show up.
Yeah. From the jump, every character's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, and of course there's criticisms there too, but Rey, the movie sits on her shoulders.
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley, never seen her before.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Anyone who's not rooting for her is in the wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's great.
Yeah, she's great. Right.
Finn, super great.
Super
Everyone loves
hilarious.
Finn.
Yeah, just hilarious.
Oscar Isaacs is Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
like, I had only seen him in dark roles.
Sure.
Like I saw him in Most Violent Year.
I've watched most of Ex Machina, and although I haven't finished it, I think I need to go back from the beginning and just watch that again, because I'm like, I can't even imagine how it's the same actor.
So, for a year now, I've been saying that he's going to turn out to be evil.
Right.
Because he's, always playing dark characters. He's got dark intensity about him. As an actor, I felt like.
Yeah.
There is zero darkness of Poe Dameron.
Zero darkness.
Poe Dameron is,
everybody's best friend.
He's super cool.
Yeah.
I love Poe Dameron. He's great.
Yeah, he's just that guy. That's
right
just
away,
hey,
super
I want
cool.
to be friends with this guy.
And he opens the movie. And
Yeah.
They had such, and now we're just going to go into a gush mode, because they had all this great stuff too. Where right after Kylo Ren, let's go to there. Adam Driver.
So Kylo Ren has been a tough character for me.
Yeah,
I love the design. I love Adam Driver's performance. I love all of all the nuances he gives this character.
Love his perfect hair when he takes his helmet off.
Hair, yeah.
yes.
I have a criticism about Adam Driver in general, but
okay.
I'll get to that later. Love the mask. I love the feel of the mask. I love the why is he wearing the mask? Is he he doesn't need to? He's just kind of insane.
I love that he's the the living embodiment of fan rage.
Yes. Yeah.
Of just fan over the top fan rage.
Right.
George Lucas raped Kylo Ren's childhood.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. I like the some people are saying that Domhnall Gleeson is a little bit over the top.
What a transformation.
For me, I love the bickering between Kylo Ren and General Hux.
Awesome.
I love that they're just riding each other, and they're both kind of trying to get Snoke's attention. They're trying to win the affection of Snoke, and backstabbing each other the entire way. I'm like, that's not something we've gotten in Star Wars. Just two guys that are just at each other's throats.
Equal. Yeah. It's cool. It's what it is it's a young Tarkin and young Vader kind of. But military precision would be the way to do it. It's don't underestimate the Force.
Right.
It's cool. It's very cool.
I like there's a scene early on where Hux is like, we need to figure out who's down on Jakku helping to helping BB-8 and Kylo Ren walks in and just uses the Force and it's it's FN 2187.
Yeah.
And Hux is like, God damn it, use the Force on this.
He's always using the Force.
We have computers that'll do this.
And that's great too, because that's his character's expanded upon in some of the other stuff I've read, and you get all that stuff from the movie,
from the performance.
The movie goes so fast, but it gives you so much. Of BB-8, you mentioned him.
Yeah,
awesome. Probably the best new cast member.
I thought so until I watched it the third time around.
Yeah.
Not that I love BB-8. I think he's great. But I think that honestly, Daisy Ridley is the one.
She's
good. The one.
She's so good. Yeah. Well, once again, we're gonna save all of the criticisms for a criticism episode coming up soon.
Yeah.
Because there is some criticism people have with Daisy Ridley, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, we'll get into all that.
We'll deal with that later. Right now, this is the love end.
Yeah, this is the love episode. Yeah.
So did we cover all the main Phasma? Cool.
Yeah, Captain Phasma.
Cool. You don't get, and kind of nice that Phasma wasn't a major character.
Right.
She was.
Right.
But she was also you got to remember, looking back, Tarkin was a major character.
Yeah.
But he wasn't also.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to have those characters that people can find.
Yeah.
You know, you can latch onto a Phasma, make that your character.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. I also kind of like that they didn't remove her helmet.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, like, save that for the next movie.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
you don't
there
need
was
to.
so much... Yeah, like, this is really the first time where I've seen J.J. Abrams, like, mystery box, like, work. Because we criticized the mystery box like, a lot.
Sure.
And, but the mystery box freaking worked. Like, I went into the movie not knowing anything, super excited. Okay, all new cast. We've kind of covered off on.
I think we've covered off on the big ones.
Dameron, Finn, etc. Miscellaneous new droids, etc.
Yeah. The side characters we'll get to later.
We'll get to all that stuff later. We'll cover it all. So let's go to the old characters.
Well, yeah, let's get to the old characters, and we'll get into the side characters.
We've covered up Han.
Han. Harrison Ford, nails it.
What's your favorite Harrison Ford line in this one?
Easily. The moment that I laugh out loud, even if no one else is laughing out loud in the theater.
Yeah.
That's not how the Force works.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
that is my favorite line.
My favorite line is not the Garvian Death Squad. What's the other gang?
Kanji Club.
Kanji Club. He's like, Kanji Club, you can't trust those little freaks. That is, because it's so good because it feels like he's kind of like he's a step or two behind generation-wise. He's kind of maybe your little off-color uncle, like maybe bordering on racism, but we're going to let him slide because he's older.
Right.
It was just such a good...
And how great is it that we get to see Han and Chewie doing what they do best?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're smuggling, and they're behind the 8-ball.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk their way through it. Like, and Chewbacca kind of doesn't think Han can do it.
And they have that great protective friend relationship where, Han keeps, coming at Finn with about stuff.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
What was the...
There was great moments where, Rey jumps into the cockpit seat of the Falcon, and Han is like, what are you doing? I have a co-pilot already.
Yeah.
He's back there, and Chewbacca's ready to tear Finn's arm off.
Yeah.
And clearly he cannot co-pilot the ship, but Han is like, I got my guy. He's back there. He's doing fine.
Oh, yeah, and I love when you hear Chewie be like, give one of his growls, and Han's like, no, you did great. There was a lot of tender moments. Yeah,
there was a lot of
you could tell they're getting older together. It was really good.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite scenes is the Chewbacca scene where they make it to the Resistance base and the nurse is helping him, and she's like, "Oh, that sounds scary. Oh, you're very brave."
Yeah. Oh, that brings up another great line, of course, because we did miss one big new character, Maz Kanata.
That's right. That's right.
And which was, to me, I know that, I'm very self-conscious about the criticism things are getting.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a marvel of mocap. I forgot because I was like, wait a second, isn't this being played by
Lupita Nyong'o?
Yeah. And I was like, isn't she 28, a beautiful model?
Sure.
And
right.
She was playing this kind of elderly character and because I totally had forgotten.
Right. My mom had a good person that Maz reminded her of.
Yeah.
Linda Hunt. Linda Hunt, I believe, is... Gosh, I bring her name up and now I can't. I think she was in a... Gosh.
Thinking Linda Hamilton?
No, Linda Hunt. I believe she was in The Killing Fields, but that's a very obscure.
Well, no, that's good.
Call
we're on Granular here.
Yeah,
that's Granular.
Anyway, yes, it reminded my mother of an actor from way back.
Well, we'll be doing an episode on Linda Hunt soon. I'm
sure. Right. Anyway, so
it was cool how just it was I felt like it must be strangely freeing as an actor to Lupita Nyong'o couldn't play that character live action. Because she's young and beautiful. Even if you put a million prosthetics on her, it's going to look weird.
Right.
And she's never going to be 2 foot, obviously.
Right.
So it was so cool. Take that whole her physical thing away and but she's still performing as the character. And still crafting a character.
Sure.
I
think when we do our flip side of the episode where we're talking about the negativity that's around this movie, we'll have to go back to the Maz character because I think there's a lot going on there that's happening on the internet that is something we'll discuss later. But this is the positive episode. This is this is Star Wars. This is this is what we've been wanting. Yep. You know, they're giving it to us, right? Mm-hmm. They're I've seen a lot of movies, not just this year, but the big franchise movies, the big award-winning movies, whatever.
Yeah.
To me, there's nothing like Star Wars.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
There's nothing like Star Wars. There's so much that you walk out of this movie and you're like, that was great. They answered all these questions, but now I have 15 other questions, or I have 20 other questions, or I have 70 other questions, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no other movie do I walk out of and be like, oh, what did I just see? Wait, they didn't give me. I have so many other things to. It makes my mind spin.
Well, I feel like there's a missing component to how you're describing it here. Of that, not only are you walking out with that, but you're also walking out with the hope / expectation that you're going to be able to find out those answers.
Right.
Because it's a living, breathing universe that's always getting more stuff where you're like, I really wonder about that one character in the background, and you're like, I can't wait till I get the short story about him.
That's the thing.
Whatever it is.
They've kind of crafted the Star Wars universe to be bulletproof. It's like, oh, they didn't explain this character in the movie the way you wanted to. Don't worry about it. There'll be a novel about it.
Whatever. And that's something we've talked about forever. The EU was the R&D for Star Wars going forward.
Exactly.
The research and development. And Disney's doing a really good job with it. Let's stop and talk about that for a second.
Yes.
So, you say the canon's bulletproof, and I feel like it is. So what's cool is, the first time I watched it, I forgot to say this, I went into it, just with my average Star Wars knowledge I have in my head.
Yeah.
And the second time, before I watched it, I watched episodes 1 through 6, a little bit of Clone Wars, and a little bit of Rebels, just so I had the full breadth of the canon,
Okay.
Just to make sure I wanted to really get that litmus test. Does it feel...
Sure.
And it definitely does feel... it feels different, obviously, from the prequels and OT, but the OT and prequels are different.
It has to.
Well, they always reflect the time they're made.
Exactly.
Exactly. But it felt Star Wars. It felt right. But you get thinking about stuff, and so... When do you think they're going to start talking about Ezra in a larger way?
It's...
Because, Rebels is kind of the one sore, I've come out to say I like Rebels.
Sure.
Season 2 has been really good to me. But boy, that is talking about a fast and loose little show.
We can...
That is canon.
What's...
Because there's a theory going around right now that Snoke is the Inquisitor from Season 1.
Right.
We've all seen that picture, right, where it shows the Inquisitor... Then it shows kind of a crappy Photoshop mid-range
it's a
thing.
morphing, Inquisitor to Snoke.
Yeah.
3 frames of morphing.
Yeah. Can you imagine that reveal? Episode 8, Rian Johnson's Star Wars. Who are you really, Snoke? Or Episode 9. And it's like, they once called me the Inquisitor. I was Darth Vader's henchman. I wasn't on screen. I had my own children's cartoon show.
My greatest nemesis, Kanan.
And Ezra. He had a lightsaber gun.
This little blue-haired kid.
Yeah. Pink Mandalorian girlfriend.
That's right. Have you ever seen Aladdin? No.
That's not going to happen.
No.
That was for me. That was the big thing. Was this movie felt so pure Star Wars that it kind of shines a light on things that were a little shaky other places.
I would say this.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about the first line in this movie.
Oh yeah.
The first line that's said out loud is
by Lars Santaka.
Not
Boba Fett, apparently.
Yeah, Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
It basically says this will make matter. This will
begin to make things right.
Yeah, this will begin to make things right.
Yes.
Okay, and a lot of people are saying that is a shot against
Yeah.
The prequels, right?
Uh-huh.
Take that what you will, all right? I think that the scene right before that happens is really the key scene here.
You have to refresh my memory.
The opening shot.
Okay.
Okay? Opening shots of Star Wars have always been very iconic.
Yeah, and this one's
Right.
got Luke Skywalker's hand in the hilts of the...
That's right.
No, that didn't happen.
That did not happen. We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, we get a Star Destroyer
Yes.
eclipsing everything.
Yes.
And that is what I feel like this movie is. Like, this is like, all that other stuff that we've been thinking about, the EU, fandom, the love, hate of the prequels, we're going to just eclipse that all.
We're just going to wipe the board.
We're just wiping it,
It's like a symbolic wiping
it's
of
a
the board.
symbolic, like, this movie eclipses it all.
Yeah.
Like, this is just erase it all from your mind.
Yeah, hey,
This
forget
is
about the
fresh.
bed sheets.
You know,
Forget
like,
about
I
the...
kind of, like...
I could see that. I
I
like that.
have a little bit of a problem with that scene, and maybe it's just because...
The opening shot?
Yeah, and it's nothing to do... Like, I like the idea of it. I like the whole, like, darkness is covering the light. You
Yeah.
know, it's very Star Wars in nature. I just feel like I haven't... And I've seen this movie in 3D. I've seen it in 3D IMAX. But I feel like I need to see it in Blu-ray now, because I'm not seeing, like, the details of the Star Destroyer in the blacks.
Yeah.
Right? All I see is, like, black covering a planet as the Star Destroyer is basically flying over the planet, but it's eclipsing Jakku, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a dark triangle. But I'm like, I know that there's detail in the ship. I want to see those. I want to watch this, like,
This is the love in episode.
I want to watch this in 4K.
Yeah. This is the love in episode, but when we walked out of the theater, that was one thing we did say where it's like, the opening shot was cool. It was very cool and clever.
Yeah.
But it was like, it didn't quite feel that, like, iconic, like, because everything else was so dialed in.
Yeah.
That you looked at that, for some reason I looked at that opening shot and was like, if you're really just trying to hit everything on the nose, like, somehow that one feels a little different. And I think that there had to have been... there was totally a version.
There's something different about it. Like, I
think there's totally film out there of a hand floating through space.
Sure.
Like, I kind of believe that.
I kind of believe it, too.
And I think that might have gotten leaked, and that ended up...
I mean, if we look at like, the other openings, I feel like, the scroll fades off, and then the camera pans down, or it pans up, or whatever, and it pans into an expansive universe. We get... we see Tatooine.
Literally drops you into the world, yeah.
And what this movie is doing is it's dropping you into that world, Jakku, and then covering it up. And it's almost like it becomes claustrophobic.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to go into that world, and no, there's a barrier. I can't go into that world. It's just, there's a weird...
It is kind of like...
I'm not saying it's
I
a
like
bad
this, like,
thing.
metaphorical take you have on it. Like, it's kind of like... Almost... I mean, because this is... There are a lot of meta elements to this film, right?
Yeah.
Like we covered a little bit, Kylo Ren clearly being, like, a fan rage character.
Sure.
Like, if you read him... Like, if you read his lines with, like, the kind of, like, fanny, like, a fan voice... Yeah. It's, like... It's perfect. It's like... Yeah. Oh, maybe we should be using a clone army. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he's like referencing like outdated stuff because he's such an expert on everything.
Right.
Like, show me the power of the dark side. Like.
Sure. I mean,
he gets upset and he has these little hissy fits.
Sure. But I would even say this, fan favorites, obviously Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Han Solo falls in there as a fan favorite, right? Yeah. Han Solo in the original trilogy, kind of a side character, right? Kind of not the big deal. And here in this movie, we have the bad guy, the big bad, mentioning Han Solo by name. Like, Han Solo is now a force to be, no pun intended, a force to be reckoned with. He's the son of Kylo Ren. He is like... He's elevated, he's the father of, but he's elevated now. He's not just a smuggler. He's
Well, that's another great line too. The Han Solo, the Republic general. He was like, no, the smuggler.
Yeah.
Ray and Finn.
Right, and Chewbacca's reaction to it is, maybe, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to call him.
I did have this thought.
Yeah.
And this can come off way more negative than it. I'd rather come off in a funny way than negative.
Sure.
Just this whole universe would be a lot better if there were no Skywalkers or Solos around.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like if I was standing there in the Resistance base, I would just be like, man, these Skywalkers and Solos, nothing but problems from them.
Yeah, right? I mean,
this is like 3 generations now.
Well, also, if we just didn't have R2 and C-3PO, that would also remove a lot of problems.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, they get starting with the New Hope, they get the message to Obi-Wan.
Oh, I see.
They, R2-D2 gives the plan, gives
the
map.
Sure.
Okay. Did you appreciate the speed with which things were dealt?
I was so as I have been living the last 2 weeks of post TFA, the world that I live in.
Yeah.
Dealing with being able to discuss the movie out loud. Are people in earshot?
Sure.
Have they seen the movie or not? Can we talk about it? One of the things I have been discussing with people who have seen the movie is how this is very much a modern movie, and yet it still feels like Star Wars. They managed to take the modern sensibilities that we have that are way different from 1977. Star Wars is a pretty slow movie. Consider, relatively speaking, the whole beginning of Star Wars is pretty slow.
Yeah.
They don't get off of Tatooine for quite a while. In this movie, it's kind of a breakneck pace.
Yeah.
But yet it still feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
To me, at least. Is that what you were getting at? Or no?
No. So what I mean specifically is, so it's another Death Star. No, it's a Star Killer. What's that mean? Oh, it's a big Death Star. Oh, okay, well, it's going to have a weakness. What's the weakness? What if I shoot there? Oh, okay, well, how can we shoot there? Finn, I can do it. Okay, let's do it. Bam, everybody good? Let's go. Boom.
Sure. I mean...
I liked it.
That was
I thought it was
think
great.
That was just... the people that were criticizing that scene, I think they don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
whole thing is played for humor.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was... I don't know.
Yeah.
But then,
I
should probably save that description for the criticism.
No, right. But I like seeing...
I thought it was fun.
I like seeing that movie, or that scene in particular.
Yeah.
I like seeing that with someone like my uncle.
Yeah.
Because he is so oblivious to, the internet fanboy picking things apart world.
Yeah.
That he just hears that scene and is just, laughing like crazy.
Yeah.
He gets what they're going for with that scene, and it's pure ridiculous comedy.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's poking fun at the whole Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
They've created another Death Star, but it's 10 times bigger. Okay, but there's always a way to kill it.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I liked fun. I want to ban using that word to describe this film.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because, it is a fun film.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But, I feel like there's a lot of... It's said a lot of times in a very derisive way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fun.
I think the third time around...
Yeah.
And I think we can expand upon this in the criticisms that people are having with this movie, but what I got out of this movie is there's definitive Star Wars moments in this film.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
The Star Wars moments that I'm talking about is, Luke looking up at the twin suns on Tatooine, right?
Yep.
There's definitive moments. They may be brief.
Ray wearing the X-Wing hat.
Ray wearing the X-Wing hat.
Yeah, we all loved it.
Still chewing her food.
Yeah.
It's those little things.
Yes.
Still chewing her food and just kind of you can there's a lot of stuff going on in that scene other than the fact that she's just wearing a helmet. She's dreaming of getting off the planet. She's dreaming of being
her
a star pilot
back, or whatever that means.
She's dreaming of something, and it's just there's a lot of subtext going on.
Yep.
And there's a lot of key moments in the film that have that Star Wars that's going to be as memorable as Luke staring off in the sun at the suns.
I took us off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Original trilogy characters. We talked about Han Solo, Leia.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Thought she was good.
Yes.
She's another big criticism for people.
I don't have any problem with her. She was great.
Enjoyed it.
She was great. Yeah.
She was excellent.
Right.
Gave great stuff.
Yep. In fact, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Emotional moments where original cast is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Her moment is probably my second most emotional moment.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Her getting off that ship, Han waiting, he's kind of stumbling. Chewbacca's just like, whatever, give me a hug.
Yeah.
That's a great little moment, right? My number one emotional moment is actually the Millennium Falcon being revealed.
Nice.
That is my, that's when I'm just like, that's just perfect.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
Because my number one emotional moment would have to be the very final shot.
Well, yeah,
I mean, that's the money.
That kind of eclipses everything. That is so. I love
those blue eyes.
Right now, okay, folks. If you have
shocker, they find Luke Skywalker.
Oh, I'm not. I'm beyond even warning people of this. Right. I love the bookends of this movie. Again, going back to, we've had decades worth of EU expanding upon these character stories, and then being told that this is all wiped clean.
Yeah.
And then walking into this movie and being like, okay, I need answers to questions that I thought I had the answer to, but you told me not. Right.
Yep.
That's basically, what we were told.
Yep.
Oh, that EU stuff, that doesn't count. So what am I supposed to think now? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this, that the crawl is like the first words in the crawl. Luke Skywalker has vanished.
Yeah.
Okay. That answers a lot. I can kind of take a breath now and think about that for the next 2 hours.
And now at the end he's found.
And then they find him at the end.
And so in the EU you talked about, we get little stories about him, kind of legendary stories through the film.
Yeah.
And they go along with EU too. At certain
some
points.
of them are true.
Okay, so he had a temple. He was training people to be Jedis.
But Han actually says there's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of stories. Some of them are true, but the people that know him the best know what the real truth is.
Yeah.
Okay, he just summed up maybe legends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I like I said, they put on a lot of ode to EU legends, which I liked.
Yeah.
But the difference here is that his temple's wiped out by a rogue that he trained.
Yeah.
It turned out to be Han Solo's son.
Right.
But we don't know if there's any Jedi he trained that are still out and about.
Right.
We don't know anything.
Right.
We don't know what that training was like or anything.
Right.
Because how do you get that off the ground?
Yeah. How do you find new Jedi?
And of course, the midichlorian counter. Hey, I found an ancient midichlorian counter. And so he's on this island alone, presumably, and standing next to what looks like a tombstone. Could be.
Third time around, I didn't see any tombstone.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see it. I was looking.
It was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when I see it the fourth time.
But the issue is it a tombstone? Is it just a rock?
I saw a lot of rocks.
It looks like a tombstone. I mean, it's a thin slate, old school, thin plate tombstone.
Sure.
But can't tell if there's any writing on it. So
yeah.
Okay, a couple more things to cover off before we get done.
It's going to be a longer episode.
Probably going to go an hour, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things.
Yeah, R2 and C-3PO.
Yes.
Good to see him back.
Good to see him back. A little bit disappointed that R2 wasn't in it longer.
Yeah, you knew someone was going to have to get benched.
Yeah.
Lando didn't even get to show up in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely see Lando coming back for the next movie.
Oh, yeah. Now they've cleared the board of Han. You got to bring back Lando.
Yeah.
C-3PO was maybe the weakest note for me.
Really?
Yeah. Although he has a great line at the beginning.
Third time around, I was fine with everything he said.
Okay.
I actually do have a favorite C-3PO moment.
Yeah.
R2 wakes up and spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, but R2 is basically asleep throughout the entire movie, and is magically awoken at the end of the movie, which was First time around, I had a little bit of trouble with that. Second and third time around, no problems with that at all. It made sense to me.
I like the story questions it posed.
It does.
It's like, is it because Rey is there?
Yeah, is it because Rey's there? Is it because BB-8 is there?
Well, BB-8 was there earlier.
Right. Rey was not, so yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But for some reason, R2 magically awakens. The Force Awakens. The R2. They could call this movie the R2-D2 Awakens.
Spoiler alert: the Force is actually R2-D2.
We all knew that.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that R2-D2 does awake.
Yeah.
And does wake up in this movie, right? And manages to somehow save the day.
Yeah. Snoke's like, "There's been an awakening. Can you feel it?"
R2 saves the day once again. He finds Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have a problem with that, and I like the fact that R2 has been, in sleep mode for, I don't know how many years, 30 years, 20 years, who knows,
right?
I'm
telling,
and
15.
As soon as R2 is, wakes up, immediately C-3PO bitch slaps him.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. Show some respect. He, immediately hits him on the head. I'm like, come on.
That is true, because he talks so lovingly about him the whole time he's in sleep mode. And
and then he wakes up, he's hits him.
Yeah,
like,
funny.
Okay.
That is I didn't
it's
catch
funny.
That. That's funny.
It's funny.
So the movie leaves us with a new ragtag group.
Yeah, we get a Chewbacca.
It's Chewie, Rey, the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
BB-8's with them. R2's with them.
BB-8 is not with them.
No,
he does not go with them.
R2's with them.
R2's with them.
R2.
C-3PO doesn't go. So yeah, it's Chewie.
Party acquires R2.
Chewie, R2, Millennium Falcon, Rey.
Luke.
And
And Lando's coming.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Lando's got to be in the next one, being like...
It just makes sense for them to get into some trouble.
I could see the scene where, Lando is, running some new city, the Millennium Falcon lands, and, Rey gets off the ship, and Lando's like, oh, you old pirate... Oh, hello. Who do we have here?
Yeah. And of course, who knows where Rian Johnson's going to go? Very different filmmaker.
Yeah, we've been hearing rumors that it's going to be weird.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Weird.
Well, if you look back, going back watching Empire again, that's a weird one. Of all of the first 6, Empire's got the weirdest stuff.
Yeah. I think we can expound upon that a little bit more in our negative episode, but I did have one thing I wanted to say about Rey, and I'm drawing a blank now.
Let me throw some about Kylo Ren then.
Okay.
So, one thing going back through the 6, I think that this trilogy is going to give us, with Kylo Ren, what I was hoping we'd get with Anakin, which is a true building of a suit.
Sure.
Because that's always been amongst certain people one of the big criticisms of how they treated
Darth Vader
Anakin.
Suit just appears.
Yeah, it's just one big battle and he's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And it was we all kind of wanted to see him get now he's got that chest plate, now he's got the helmet.
Sure.
And so so now with Kylo Ren we're getting this he's got this faux thing. He loses the helmet, we know for sure in this movie.
Yeah.
We don't lost.
I mean, honestly, do we even know that he gets off the planet?
Yeah, I mean, it's assumed because Snoke says get him off the planet, so
it
must have happened to finish his training, whatever that means.
Right.
Is Snoke going to take over his body?
Right. Okay, so let's talk about some of the big questions, because, like I said, saw the movie with my parents yesterday. Walking out of the theater, my dad, first question on his mind, so, Rey, did I miss? Is she Luke's daughter?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Dad, you didn't miss that.
Yeah, we don't know.
And literally a half hour later, my dad is still like, so do you think the director just made a mistake? And didn't. I'm like, no, Dad, I think it's pretty intentional.
Meanwhile, JJ's looking at that one roll of film that has the parentage in it. It's like, oh God, why did I put this in there?
I like the idea that my dad just is like, the director really botched that one up.
No one else caught it.
Yeah.
That's so. What are the options here? I mean, Luke Skywalker seems to be the fan favorite choice. It's somehow Luke's daughter.
Third time around, it seemed pretty evident that it's Luke's.
And this is a movie that doesn't really. It plays with mysteries in weird ways. Right away, it gives you Kylo Ren is Han Solo's son. Boom.
Yeah, it's
doesn't even
then the
hide
first
it.
act. Yeah.
Which
is funny because I'm so close to it that for me I'm just okay, yeah, kind of suspected that,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
for someone like my parents, I'm sure, like, they hear that and they're like, what?
yeah. But he doesn't look anything like Leia
Yeah.
Han. It's like,
Yeah.
well, true.
Yeah, take the mask off. Let's go.
Okay.
My one criticism of Adam Driver,
Yeah.
big ass ears.
He does have big ears.
His ears are. I'm like, he's not. Those aren't Han's ears.
Yeah,
those aren't Leia's ears. Where did he get
Anakin
those
didn't
from?
have ears like that. Hayden had
No one-
beautiful ears.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
like, you can't cut your hair short on this. Your ears are going to stick out. And that's not.
I'm going to have those bobbed. I'm sorry. The Force, Ron. So that's what going to the dark side gets you.
You know what they say about people with big ears? A lot of force.
Yeah. So Rey's parents looks like Luke.
Looks like Luke.
Because what else is it going to be? It's not Han
It's
and
not
Leia.
Han and Leia's.
That's
I feel like
goofballs.
halfway
There's just so much explaining of Han and Leia.
in the beginning of the movie, the way that Rey is really proficient with knowing about the Falcon. She's repeating things that Han are saying, that Han's saying. I was totally like, oh yeah, it's going to come out that Han is Han's daughter.
Yeah.
Right? But it didn't.
Right.
And as it moves forward, she meets Leia, and Leia doesn't say anything. They don't, Han is just like, I saw our son.
Yeah.
Never mentions, oh yeah, by the way,
I also saw our daughter.
she's right there. She's in the Falcon. No, it's like they don't say anything. And I feel like this movie, if we're playing by the movie's rules,
Yeah.
it's not Han and Leia's kid.
That would be a cheat.
That would be a cheat.
Bigger than being like Leia is Luke's sister. Like it'd be so huge.
Right.
Right.
They've planned this out as much. They may not know exactly, beat by beat, what's going to happen in the next two movies, but they
know who Rey's parents are.
who Rey is.
And if it was a rando,
yeah,
like
that feels weak too.
So
this is the story of Skywalkers.
There is a black horse though. The dark horse theory is
Kenobi?
we hear both Kenobi actors
Yeah.
in that little flashback sequence.
Do we?
Yeah.
Like I heard, I was listening to them. I was listening for them on the third time around. Heard Ewan. Do we hear Qui-Gon in that too?
I don't know if we hear Qui-Gon, but we hear...
We hear Yoda. We definitely hear Yoda.
Yeah.
We hear...
Because they use Rey from Afraid. For
is
Sir
that
Alec
what it
Guinness.
is? Maybe I was hearing...
they clipped-
maybe that's what I thought was Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
Okay.
they clipped him saying Rey.
Afraid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Afraid.
So
back in 1977, George Lucas is like, "Hey, Alec Guinness, can you say the word afraid, but really accentuate the Rey part of it?
yeah, they had that take.
30-some years from now, we're gonna need that."
What are the odds that the character Rey
Is based
became Rey because they had that
They
name?
could pull that soundbite.
Yeah. Her name was originally like Kylo or something,
Kira.
Yeah, her name was Kira.
Yeah.
And they're like, sorry, we don't have anything we can cobble together from Alec Guinness.
Do you think they would?
He says tear, so we can get ear from that.
Do you think they could even like how powerful is Disney? Could they go into
reanimate Sir Alec Guinness?
No, could they pull lines from Bridge on the River Kwai and be like, yeah, we got a Rey in here.
Yeah.
Bridge on the River Kwai. Can we call her Kwai? 'Cause
Yeah.
that would be really easy.
Yeah. We already had a Qui-Gon. It makes perfect sense. Add a little more mystery.
Wow.
She could.
Hold on a
There's
second.
a real dark horse theory for you.
Kwai? Qui-Gon and Bridge on the River Kwai. Did we ever make that connection before?
No.
Holy
Nice.
crap.
There you hear it here first, folks.
So if you're the
Qui-Gon,
new machete
named
order,
after-
the new machete order is
Yeah.
is watch 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
then Bridge on the River Kwai, and then 4, 5, 6,
Yes.
and then 7.
So, I want to, in the future, we're going to do an episode. I just want to get this in the record.
Okay.
We're going to do an episode on reevaluating the canon post-TFA.
Oh, sure.
Because going back and looking at the Clone Wars, too, there's some things in there where it's like, well, I wonder if this all really works as well. But that was just a mental note.
All right. Ezra? Ezra doesn't work.
Yeah, as Era Bridger? I just hope that he turns out to be Snoke. But,
all right.
Okay, so there's a couple other things, though.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep it under a minute. We have 3 seconds.
No. Let's not worry about it.
Okay. So, we don't know Rey's parents. The Dark Horse theory I just thought of.
Okay.
Qui-Gon, has a bunch of kids out there running around.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So, could be one part of the Qui-Gon lineage.
I mean...
If it was... But in all seriousness, if it was Kenobi, there's a lot of explaining you have to do. Because then you got to get into Mandalore and Sabine. And...
honestly, you have to explain Kenobi. Because Kenobi hasn't really even been around... Yeah. That ghost that Luke talks to in Return of the Jedi.
He's coming back though, right? They talked about having Hayden as a ghost in this.
Yeah, We'll get to that.
We're gonna get both of those.
We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that in a
future.
Folks, we're gonna probably be talking about TFA for a while in different.
We're gonna have to pace ourselves though.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to really do one for us, one for the family.
Yeah, right.
So big question, Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
We were talking about this right before the mics went on.
Yes.
Darth Vader, Anakin, redeemed at the end of Return of the Jedi, supposedly.
Yep.
Can Kylo Ren be redeemed after killing his father, Han Solo?
I don't think so. Oh, so, okay, let's get into this.
Also, having watched all 6 films again,
I
don't know if Anakin was redeemed. He killed younglings. Like when I watched it again, I was like, I don't know. Like, it's cool you killed the Emperor, but you had a lot of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, Luke didn't see those kids.
It's like I would like to see, like, when he finds a holocron of all those younglings being slaughtered, he's like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of moral...
Father, what?
There's a lot of moral ambiguities in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, Luke killed how many people on that Death Star?
Yeah.
It's funny the times we live in because, as I'm watching this movie, and this is not a criticism, this is just the mind goes in weird places.
Yeah.
And, but I'm just like, Han and Chewie are planting bombs in this Death Star, and I'm just like, that's a terrorist act.
Yeah. They should really lock them up.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, no, that's a great,
okay.
You start to immediately go on the side of the First Order. Like, they're keeping us safe.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe this will something we can expound upon in another episode when we get into all of the materials that are being published around this movie. But do we know exactly, so there's the First Order, right?
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say New Order, but that's that band from the 80s.
Yeah.
There's
green eyes.
I love that song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
We'll have to use that for an episode eventually.
Yeah, when we start talking about the Empire.
Yeah. So there's the First Order, then there's the Resistance, but there's a Republic. So what's the Resistance resisting against?
Well, this we can definitely cover in that expanded episode.
Okay,
because
we can get
looking at the iconography, you can get it right away.
Okay, because it's a little bit confusing in the movie. It's
like
there's a government.
Once again, though, it's one of those things where it's any kind of extraneous information they just breeze by, much like A New Hope. Because it was kind of confusing in A New Hope. Is the Senate's been dissolved. It's like, what?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
Right.
What do you mean? What Senate?
Right. I rewatched Star Wars and Empire prior to seeing the movie, and that conference room scene where Tarkin is sitting around with the rest of the Imperials, I was shocked. It's a great scene, but as an adult watching that, I was like, why? How? As a kid, how did I sit through this?
Yeah.
This is a bunch of old farts sitting around talking about government shit.
Yeah.
How is it, as a kid, I was riveted by this. Maybe because Darth Vader's there, but, he's barely in it.
Man, so there's a million things I want to talk about. A million things.
Right.
But there's...
Let's stay focused on this whole...
Okay.
There's a republic, which is a government.
Yeah.
and strictly by what the movie's giving us, because I know you know more.
Yeah.
Right. You've read some of the books. I've read some things.
Yep. So between the two of us, we have some extraneous knowledge from the movie.
From the movie, there's a republic, so that's the government, right? And there's the First Order, which is basically trying to become the new government,
right?
But the resistance is there to stop
them. So
unbeknownst to the republic,
it sort of looks a little bit like
the resistance
is a terrorist cell.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. It does look like that. Okay,
yeah.
But
it's a terrorist cell fighting a terrorist cell.
Yeah, it's a weird
or is it like, okay, to use an analogy that may or may not work?
Yeah.
Is it like the Republic is America?
Okay.
And the First Order is like, say, the UK.
Okay.
And the Resistance is a militia group within America who is actively attacking the UK.
Okay, all right. I can see it that way. Sure, I could see it that way. I'm just trying to obviously the world at large sees this movie as all fun, good time, entertainment.
Yeah.
Characters we love, blah blah blah. Right.
Yes.
The money proves that this is truly the case. Everybody's going to see this. People are going to see this numerous times. We've seen this numerous times. But as I feel like I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I wasn't pointing out the fact that it's a weird, in this day and age, some of this stuff is kind of weird. Okay? Wait.
No, I'm
okay?
with you.
Just in this day and age, I'm out I'm at my local Target this morning, and there's Rolling Stone magazine with a cover of, Force Awakens says it on the cover, and it's there's Han, and there's Chewie, and there's Finn, right?
Yeah.
And they're all holding guns.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Guns aren't a problem in America, right?
Yeah. It's like...
and take it a step further.
It's give everybody a lightsaber.
Okay, so this movie's being marketed around Kylo Ren. He's kind of my dad points out the fact that he's I see a lot of Darth Vader and Yodas in the store, and I was just prior to seeing the movie, it's just I was kind of thinking about are they going to be in the movie? I don't see a lot of new characters. And I was well, Kylo Ren's on a lot of stuff, Dad. He's yeah, I see that. Why is Kylo Ren on? He's iconic, obviously. But he commits patricide.
Yeah. He does.
And getting back to what we were going to talk about, can he recover from that?
And not just patricide against an American icon.
Well, let's talk about just how this is different, right? Okay, so in the order of the way these movies came out, we get Alec Guinness, and he dies in the first movie, right? And obviously this Han Solo dying in this movie is parallel to that, and we can talk about that in the next episode, but whatever. But Alec Guinness really was only in 40 minutes of the movie, and then he's killed off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can say, but he was in those 3 other movies first, but it's played by a different actor, and we got those later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's Ewan McGregor, right? But this is Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's been with us through ups and downs for 3 movies. He's been frozen, for God's sakes, and thawed and saved, and now they kill him. Can a character that's been in 4 movies, and killed off, can Adam Driver
And don't forget, he's a special character. He's a character who is untouchable.
Right.
He was a character they never messed with, and they never messed with him in the Clone Wars. We never saw a young Han Solo. We didn't get a young Han Solo showing up in the prequels.
Right.
We didn't. He was kind of that he's a special character.
Right. And the people point to the fact that that's what the prequels are missing. They're missing the Han Solo character. So now, how do we move forward without the Han Solo character?
Yeah, everyone admits that Harrison brought some magic with that character.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to say. I don't. Originally, I believed that he was going to be redeemed, turn out to be a good guy. There is a theory floating around.
Adam Driver.
Yes.
Kylo Ren.
Yes.
Right.
And there is a theory floating around that he's doing everything he's doing because, much like Anakin, he's seen some sort of prophecy of a much greater evil should he not do what he's doing.
Sure. I think we can all go back and listen to the dialogue that's said in that final scene with Han and Kylo, and we can all pick that apart 10 times from Sunday just to, like, there's a lot spoken in that scene, and it can be read multiple ways.
Totally. Yeah. Like, when you start seeing it that way, it's like, is it a hard thing to do because he's trying to do the good thing in the long run?
Exactly.
And that kind of goes back to the whole... We've talked about how Star Wars is influenced by Dune.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in this film.
Yeah.
So, could it be that kind of Leto's golden path where he... the whole thing was where Paul Atreides wanted to control everything to make sure... to ensure that humanity wasn't destroyed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So...
and they allude to that in the very Hitler-esque scene where Hux is talking to the army on the stage. He's talking about how the Republic is very disorganized, and there's a lot of crime because of the Republic is running things.
Well, I think one of the key things also though is Kylo Ren alone in his little apartment with his Darth Vader helmet.
Yeah.
He's saying, "I'm going to finish what you started." And it's like, well, what did Darth Vader start?
Well, he built C-3PO, so we can only think that...
finally going to get C-3PO those rocket legs.
C-3PO is going to get his arm replaced.
Yeah.
He's going to get that golden arm back,
yeah.
And Kylo Ren is going to be the one to do it.
Exactly. And I think that's a good note for us to... I think
I think we're getting close to ramping up our love fest.
Yeah.
And getting into the criticisms.
One last thing before we get there.
Yeah.
George Lucas, speaking of criticisms.
Oh, my goodness.
So he's obviously come out as a critic.
Yes.
He's made a schism.
Yeah.
Made a schism run.
Yep.
This podcast has a long history of being very loyal to George Lucas.
Yes.
Very loyal to the prequels.
Sure.
Do you see that changing at all going forward?
Well.
Let me tell you, Ron. Having watched
all
6 films and the 7th now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I think when I alluded to earlier doing that podcast where we re-examine the canon in light of TFA,
yeah,
I think you're going to have to watch all 6, and then we'll reconvene and see how we feel about everything.
Sure.
Because there is some stuff there where you think, oh, well, if it was that easy.
Yeah. Okay, well, so I think you bring up a good point, and I think we will wrap this up shortly.
Yeah.
I think moving forward as a podcast,
yes,
much like the Star Destroyer eclipsing everything in the beginning shot of this, I think that TFA will definitely be something that is going to eclipse a lot of what we talk about moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
This is by no means, folks, that we intend to set out to review the movie or give you, a straightforward reaction to the movie. Like a lot of other people are doing out there. This is something that, as Star Wars fans, they've given us a lot to talk about, to think about. There's 500 and some days until the next episode comes out, and there's going to be a lot of speculation. There's going to be a lot of, dare I say it, rumors, lies, and innuendos between now and then.
But I do want to underline that we're going to continue to do kind of focused episodes.
Oh,
on things.
Definitely. I just think that
we're not going to go straight TFA all the time.
No. But I think that TFA will seep into things, unbeknownst to.
I'm a little self-conscious of our past few episodes have been these kind of
past few. I feel like from November forward, I've been talking about TFA related stuff.
Oh no, sure, but these past few, I feel like we've just been doing this kind of rambling.
Sure.
These have been kind of our victory lap after a year of waiting.
So. I'm just saying. I think that TFA is going to be in and out of topics moving forward. Even if the show is not about TFA specific, things are going to be weaved into.
Well, because
it's hard not to.
Yeah, that's the new thing.
So that being said. you said you loved the movie?
Yeah.
We're good there?
Yep. 2 thumbs up.
Good. I agree. There's nothing more you can say. It was
there's a
great.
million podcasts you can listen to. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. Go see it because they need our money.
They need the money.
Disney
needs the money.
Disney needs the money.
We want a sequel, guys. Come on.
All right, folks. Well,
Ryan Johnson's the check still hasn't cashed.
Don't cash this until 2018, please.
Signed, Disney.
All right, folks. Well, hey. You've been listening to
Delusions of Granular. And if you want to relive the true journey to TFA, Two Fans' true journey.
That's right. Not the books, no. The podcast.
This was the real emotional ups and downs.
Right.
Go to delusionsofgranular.com where you can find all of our old episodes. Or
find us on... you can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. You can subscribe to us there. You can find all of our episodes on there. I think they're still there.
And I switched up the notes order.
We haven't been censored yet by iTunes, so keep following us there.
Did you see? Sorry, in the middle of notes, I got an update. That some Paramount just sued a fan production of a Star Trek thing.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Do you
think Disney's gonna? We gotta start watching out.
Hey, if we get sued, that is the true mark of our success.
That's right.
People know about us.
It worked.
Hey, if you want to know about us, folks, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SWDog, or on Twitter at SWDog77, or...
If you want to become part of the show, give us a phone call at 651-337-9364. It'll go straight to voicemail. You can leave a message. We'll put it on the show if you'd like. 651-33-SWDOG. That's SWDog.
That's right. And moving forward in the new year, Steve the Sheev Schindler is going to be recording more episodes for us.
Yeah.
So expect some granular reviews from our resident reviewer, Steve. So if you liked our last episode, you thought, hey, these guys know what they're talking about much more than we do.
More of that coming.
There's more of that coming, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve will be hopefully a regular part of our schedule soon.
Yeah, we love Steve. And so, once again, thanks to Steve for last episode.
That's right.
Helped us while we were still processing.
Yeah.
And
may
the fourth.
May the granular be with you.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, there we go.
That's good. I like
that.
We're still trying out new taglines for 2016. Send in any ideas.
Oh, we had a couple good ones. I forgot what they are. Oh, we'll have to dig those up. All right, folks. Stay granular. Bye.